From time to time we hear that the world is tired of the war in Ukraine. The number of news views about the Russian invasion of Ukraine is significantly decreasing worldwide. At the same time, the number of dead Ukrainians is tragically increasing. A shopping center in Kremenchuk, a 5-story building in Chasovy Yar, an office building in the center of Vinnytsia, a recreation center and a residential building in the Odesa region. They all have suffered from terrorist attacks by the Russian Federation in just the last couple of weeks. Every day Russian shells take lives in Luhansk, Donetsk, Dnipropetrovsk, Kharkiv, Mykolaiv, Odesa and other regions of Ukraine. Every day in Ukraine is now 9/11. This is UA, the day that we survived. Ukrainian journalists have come together to create it with real people who record themselves and send us their recordings. Today we have audios from residents of the cities of Kremenchuk, Lysychansk and Podilsk. We asked people how their life, or we would say life-war balance, is today. What is it like to continue living despite the constant danger and pain? Anna is from the city of Kremenchuk. On the 24th of February, when Russia launched a full-scale invasion, she was at home, on distance learning.
Мене звати Анна, мені 19 років.
My name is Anna, and I'm 19 years old, and I'm finishing my second year at the Department of Foreign Languages of Karazin University. Because of the war, I'm now based in my native city of Kremenchuk.
Kremenchuk is the second most important city in Poltava region, central Ukraine. Today it is an industrial center and historically it is an important center of the Ukrainian Cossacks. But for Anna, above all, it is home.
Кременчук для мене це особливе місце.
For me, Kremenchuk is a special place. It is my hometown. My love for it is endless. I have several favorite places, such as Babayev Square, the City Garden, our waterfront, and the Peace Park. The list can go on because Kremenchuk is an incredible city. I was born there, grew up, and graduated with honors from high school. All of my best memories in Kremenchuk are connected with my family, especially when we all gathered in the country house. Those were unforgettable moments. In 2020, the coronavirus pandemic came to Ukraine and all places shut down. And my brother and I were at that stage of life when I graduated from school with honors and he graduated from the university with honors. And of course, these events had to be celebrated, so we gathered at my aunt's country house near the Dnipro River. We were together with all our family and friends, we talked and we laughed. The time brought us all closer together. For me, Kremenchuk is a city where I celebrate every holiday like my birthday, Easter, and New Year's. It is so important that regardless of the holiday, my nears and dears are always around. But one day, everything has changed.
Але одного дня все змінилося.
On the 27th of June 2022, the Russian armed forces fired 2 missiles into central Kremenchuk, hitting the Amstor shopping mall and the Kremenchuk road machinery plant. At that time in Amstor, there were at least 1,000 people, visitors and employees of the mall.
І наш Амстор повністю зруйнували.
Our mall, called Amstor, was destroyed. Like all other residents, I feel shocked, full of pain and hatred. I was at home at that time. I heard a loud explosion that sounded like thunder. Then I felt a strong vibration in my body and the walls and windows shook.
There were no endless relatives or acquaintances at the scene of the tragedy. They were lucky enough. As of the 2nd of July, 29 body fragments were found under the rubble of the mall. On the 6th of July, local church conducted funerals for those who were killed because of the terrorist act of the occupiers. But those who live must live. Anna is step by step returning to her routine.
Зараз я все ще не можу отямитися від того, що сталося.
Even now, I still cannot get over what happened. But I have already returned to my usual activities to calm down my nerves because of the tragedy. I'm finishing the semester, passing exams, doing sports, and stretching. It improves my mood. To be honest, I don't know what happens next. I have no plans of going somewhere. I want to stay home.
Despite everything, Anna believes in the armed forces of Ukraine and expects our victory as soon as possible.
Я вже настільки сильно чекаю наші
I
перемоги.
am looking forward to our victory, so our whole family will reunite again, so we can gather once more and create new and even better, unforgettable moments in Kremenchuk.
Vlad comes from Lysychansk, where he has lived all his life. When the full-scale war started, he began actively volunteering, helping the city, which was constantly being shelled. Vlad sent us his recording on the 21st of June, when Lysychansk was not yet occupied by the Russians.
My name is Vladislav Gurtove. I am from Lysychansk. On February the 24th, of course, everything was very unclear and scary. There were long queues to ATMs and stores. All the essential products immediately disappeared from the shelves.
Пару дней, да, приходил в себя, пытался принять все как есть и...
For a couple of days we adapted, tried to accept everything as it was, and literally a week later I started volunteering. At first I just helped unload boxes with products. I helped transport them on foot or by bicycle, especially for those who could not come to the humanitarian centers for help.
Обстановка менялась. С каждым месяцем все ухудшалось. Первый месяц еще работали.
The situation was changing and getting worse. In the first month, supermarkets, shops, and a market even worked. We could buy almost anything. Then supermarkets and pharmacies closed. Money could not be obtained in cash. People did not receive pensions for 4 months.
Не получали пенсии уже 4 месяца. Сейчас я занимаюсь тем, что выхожу на других волонтеров, так как...
Now I am engaged in reaching out to other volunteers, because there are a lot of people who are left. A lot of older people, children and women are there, and everybody needs help. I look for volunteers from other cities and countries. Together we bring humanitarian aid here, meals, medicines and hygiene products. We deliver all of these. We can help 500 to 1,000 people per day. We actively help with evacuation and explain to people that they need to go because the evacuation could stop at any moment. We try to help everyone and do whatever we can, and sometimes even more.
500-1000 человек. Помогаем сейчас активно с эвакуацией, собираем информацию, объясняем людям, что нужно эвакуироваться, потому что в любой момент эвакуация может прекратиться. Пытаемся помочь всем.
The most frightening thing is that there are lots of children in the city. I don't want them to see all this horror, but the support and gratitude of people for our help motivates me to work harder.
By now, the Russians had entered the city. Vlad was one of the last to leave. Now he is coming to his senses and plans to help the displaced people from Luhansk region. Yulia is originally from Odesa region. The girl is 24 years old. She talks about the city of Podilsk, which has become special for her.
Я народилась і виросла на Одещині.
I was born in the Odesa region, but not in a typical Odesa region. I live in the north, so far from the seaside, and there are no well-known water parks nearby everyone knows and associates my region with.
Про які всі знають, з якими асоціюється мій регіон. Буквально 2 роки тому я переїхала.
2 years ago, I moved to the city of Podilsk. It is a small town, but also a railway hub. Previously, I wasn't very attached to this city. But since the beginning of the war, it has become special because I have been staying here, and in fact here for the first time in many years. I have my own home.
Не було раніше якоїсь прив'язки такої сентиментальної до цього міста, але зараз воно з початку війни, власне,
which I decorate, my cups that I chose, colors that I like. Here are lots of things I made, filled, bought, created, and I hope that my son will be born here. That's why it is special for me.
де мої чашки, які я довго вибирала, кольори.
On the 1st of July, Russian troops attacked the village of Serhiivka, Odesa region. 21 people died, 39 injured. One missile hit a 9-story residential building. The second hit a recreation center. There were children among the dead. Yulia reads the news, but does not want to leave her hometown. And here is why.
У мене є таке відчуття двоякості. З одного боку, я розумію, що безпечно.
I have a sense of duality. On the one hand, I understand that there is no completely safe place. It is not the fact that it won't explode tomorrow or today.
Себе десь в іншому місті, навіть в іншому домі. У мене тут є в своєму домі відчуття, що
On the other hand, it is difficult for me to imagine myself somewhere else, even in another house. In mine, I have a feeling of comfort and such a strange security.
Дуже важко і страшно це чути, тому що я розумію, що переїхати це про стільки процесів.
Therefore, when I listen or work with people who have moved, it is hard and scary because I understand that it is about so many processes that give this ease, comfort, security. It's all about the routine, the people around. Losing it is fearful.
Now we often divide our lives into before and after the 24th of February. However, the war leaves even more scars in the history of every family.
Є війна в країні до того, як тато пішов на війну.
For me, there are two wars. A war before my dad became a soldier, and the war after that. I distinguish them very clearly by feeling. These are two different stages, two different people, me before and me after.
Я до і я після. Якось до, знаєш, в мене була така дуже дієва реакція.
Before I had such an effectiveness as a reaction to stress. Maybe it is related to pregnancy, maybe not. I got involved, I worked a lot. Even if it was not related to work, I tried to help, volunteer somewhere, took care of home improvement, my health.
То я намагалась допомагати, десь волонтерити. Я займалась дуже активно.
There was a huge to-do list. This effectiveness helped me, and this planning gave me clarity regarding at least some areas of my life. And during this period, despite how much pain and horror there was around me, I had a lot of resourceful things. Since the beginning of the war, I have resumed personal psychotherapy, attended some supervision sessions and support meetings.
В цей період, не дивлячись на те, скільки болю і жаху було навколо, в мене були і
I felt better by connection with nature, with my house, the opportunity to observe these flowers, trees, fruits, berries. This gives a sense of grounding and the feeling that life is going on. And pregnancy supports from the point of view that the tummy is constantly growing, changes are constantly taking place. In May, I felt the first movements of my baby, and this is a supportive reminder that life goes on, processes continue. It supports.
І вагітність, вона, я не знаю, може теж парадоксально звучати, дуже підтримує з цієї точки зору мене, що животик росте постійно, відбуваються якісь зміни. В травні, здається, я відчула...
When I found out that my father received a summons, It was without any doubt the worst day of my life, which I was afraid of and wanted to avoid. This day came unexpectedly, and when I was least ready for it. And after that, some kind of joy disappeared. Not a joy in a literal sense, but that joy which was innate for me.
Можу назвати це найгіршим днем свого життя, якого я дуже боялась і дуже хотіла уникнути. І він прийшов цей день неочікувано. І я би сказала, що це було, коли от я найменше була до цього готова. І от якось після цього зникла якась така...
My sister and I were together crying and talking a lot. She said that earlier she could listen to a song or watch a video. Maybe it's about some kind of internal prohibition during the grieving process.
До цього. І ми з сестрою якось разом в цьому процесі, ми багато плачемо, багато говоримо. Вона теж зі мною ділилася про те, що там до цього...
I understand that I feel differently. It is difficult for me to experience some things which I used to manage normally.
Yulia's father is now protecting Ukraine. He became a soldier and continues to be a loving father, a husband, and a grandfather. Like many Ukrainian families, Yulia's family has a hard time living this forced distance.
Тато, це, ти знаєш, це такий центр для всіх насправді в нашій родині.
Dad is a center for everyone in our family, like the center of balance. He seems to me, to each of us, and there is a lot of us, grandmother, mother, sister, niece, nephew.
Він давав дуже багато тепла, підтримки, тримав, мені здається, кожну з нас в рівновазі. І був таким...
But the resource of warmth and support. Father kept us in balance and was such a gentle mediator who regulated relations. And each of us copes with the fact that he is not physically nearby. Mom is having a hard time now, and her pain is doubled, as it hurts to watch what is happening to other family members.
Мама, наприклад, дуже важко це проживає, та і цей біль подвоюється, тому що боляче там за себе, та як доньці, і боляче дуже насправді спостерігати те, що відбувається.
And one of those my obsessive thoughts, how is he without us? I'm used to talk to him a lot by phone. I'm used to see him often. I'm used to the fact that we have our chat with jokes that are not understandable for others. It hurts to lose it, and to lose it very dramatically. Because now we speak for 2 minutes every some days, and it's so fantastic.
Спірні оці нікому не зрозумілі жарти. Дуже один з таких найбільш болючих моментів – це втратити це і втратити дуже різко. Тому що зараз він говорить 2 хвилини раз на декілька днів, і то це таке типу «О, вау, супер».
At the beginning of the war, for a month or 2, I was between these 2 poles, father and son. In that period, my dad was the person who supported me the most. When I found out about my pregnancy, and I received a lot of support after the first visits to the hospital. In my doubts, fears about the war, Dad took my mother to the hospital.
З усіх тією людиною, який найбільше підтримував мене, коли дізнався.
Took my sister and niece. He was the person who was waiting for me under the maternity hospital. And I have a lot of anger. How could it be otherwise?
Раніше я слухала історії про жінок моєї родини.
I used to listen to stories about women in my family seeing off their husbands or brothers to war. They lost someone. They raised children, helped each other. It seemed to me that this was a story, like something from the movies, a story with black and white photos, and I could not imagine that I would be such a woman.
Ніколи уявити, що я буду тією жінкою, яка, очікуючи дитину, сина, буде проводжати свого тата на війну.
When I listened to grandmother's stories, I could never imagine that she, who lost her father in the war, literally before the victory, would see off her 55-year-old son to the war again. I could not imagine it.
Я не могла цього уявити. Мені хочеться, мабуть, щоб хтось знав, скільки теж злості, гніву викликає ця ситуація. І мені
I probably want someone to know how much anger and rage this situation causes. And I actually really wanted to spend this period of my life in a different way. Just being busy with makeup and photo shoots, preparing things for my son, but it's different for me.
The world is still calling for an end to Russian hate. But anger and hatred seem to be quite adequate reactions when you and your country are trying to be destroyed. The experience of the Second World War showed how important it is for the aggressor to ultimately take responsibility for its actions, and how important it is for all citizens of the aggressor countries to acknowledge and share this responsibility. Because this is the one and only way to truly never again.
Колись в Краматорську у нас була зустріч.
Once in Kremenchuk, we had a meeting of Russian and Ukrainian activists engaged in the development of critical thinking. It was in 2016. At that moment, it helped me to see living people, even if they were not many, who asked questions and were interested in how to be here in this situation.
Цікавилися, як тут, як бути в цій ситуації. І один з учасників сказав, що йому дуже боляче і соромно.
One of the participants said that he was hurt and ashamed because of the fact that he felt a sense of belonging to what was happening. It hurt him that he had Russian citizenship and that he did not know how he could do, but he apologized to us all. I remember this meeting at that moment. It was one of those situations which helped me, and I have developed such an aversion to hate. I don't want to bear my child hating someone, but there is only anger. It seems to me that it is wrong in relation to my son to bear him with anger and aggression, feeling this endless pain. No, I don't want that.
Виношувати його з ненавистю, злостю, агресією, стільки відчуваючи якийсь безкінечний біль.
And my question is how to get my life back and my joy back. Because I want to feel love, joy, warmth and satisfaction in my own life. I hope it will come back to me sooner or later.